Hi there. I wanted to do a review on this hat because I couldn't find anywhere else on the internet that did it. There was one or two places, but they didn't really go into the details of it. So the hat I'm talking about, as you can probably see in the description, is the Akubra Federation 4. It's a copy of the Indiana Jones hat, essentially. Thankfully, I live in Sydney, which is sort of about an hour and a half drive from Katoomba, which is the only place you can get this hat made in Australia. I've heard that people from all around the world have bought it. Before I bought it, I wanted to see if it was any decent or not. And there were a few reviews that said it was, a few reviews that, they questioned it. But as you can see here, this is the hat. It sort of changes in the lighting a lot. On a bright sunny day, it can actually seem a little more like a grey brown than a dark brown. And sort of shadowy lighting, it seems like it's brown. Quite easily shaped. Apparently it comes in, when you order it, there's a lot of people around the world have to do and have it shipped to them. It comes in an open crown, which means there's no shape on it. It's a completely flat brim and a completely rounded crown that actually comes up to about there. So when you actually get it, the crown looks like it's way too high. And then, I was lucky enough to shape it in the shop because the woman was boxing, and I said, no, don't worry about it, I'll shape it here. And so she let me, and I got a pretty good shape, but when I got home I did some more shaping with it. They're always careful to say it's not a copy of the Indiana Jones hat. It's a copy of the Indiana Jones hat. She even spoke to me about how they had the guy from Advintage hats, fedoras, send one of the Indiana Jones hats that was used in the Crystal Skull, I think, over to Katoomba, where they had it on display for a while until it got water damage because the place had a flood or something. But it's the exact same dimensions. Copy, the same width of the brim and the front. It's what they call I forget the name, but it's a type of brim cut where it's longer on the front and back than it is on the sides. Dimensional cut. There you go. By accident, when I shaped it, I gave it the Raiders turn. If you're wondering what the Raiders turn is, that is where this crease down the middle, and therefore the pinch at the end, is slightly off centre. The hat actually, if facing perfectly forward, with dimensional cut being the sides facing forward, it actually faces you like that. You can see it's off kilter, but that would mean that the crease would have had to run like that. I accidentally did it like that. So I knew all about the Raiders turn, but I didn't really have any interest in doing it. But what I did, in fact, was do it. So the hat, when it's being worn, has an atypical view where the lowest part of the brim is slightly off to the right. Anyway, so that's the hat. Doesn't look like that at all when you get it. It's very flat brim all the way around, but as I said, I shaped it. Basically, the Indiana Jones look. The hat can have an up curl to it just on the sides, but this came fairly flat. And a lot of people, I think, tend to try and make it all go up except for the brim, which is down. But it's actually, you want the whole thing to be like the hat cone and then the brim all the way facing down, and then just on the sides you flare it up, which, as you can see, is there. So putting the hat on, that's what it looks like. I'll do a slow turn for you. There you go. One thing I think that's very Akubra about it, because it is an Akubra hat, is the felt is probably stiffer than what most people would think. It's there's a certain stiffness to it that I think when you see in the movies, the Indiana Jones hat is a little more pliable. But then a lot of online forums, I've heard that over time and wearing it, it will get softer and sort of be more malleable. It changes a lot depending on what light it is. I've worn it to work a couple of times in the rain. It will stand quite a good rain and won't really lose its shape that much. Shrink-wise, it didn't really shrink that much. It's a very good hat. That's what it looks like on the inside, so that's where it differs a lot from, say, the traditional Indiana Jones hat. Traditional Indiana Jones hat has got the white satin. I do think the Federation 4 Deluxe is probably even closer again to the actual Indiana Jones hat, because I believe the inside is white and the headband is a little nicer, and it's made with a premium type of rabbit fur felt, which is softer and more bendable. Because you see, if I push that, it's quite sturdy. But I actually like that because you can you can bash it up against things and it doesn't lose its shape that much. I would say this is much more like the Raiders of the Lost Ark fedora, as opposed to Temple of Doom, which this sort of pushes in more, and the Last Crusade and the Crystal Skull. This is much more like the Raiders fedora. Okay, I'll put some pictures up to show you the Katoomba site and all that sort of stuff. Lovely people. I'd definitely recommend it. I think this set me back about 170 Australian dollars, which is like 119 US. So yeah, hope you like that. I really wish I'd had a review like this when I was buying the hat, but yeah, I bought it and I'm very happy with it. It's very cool. Okay, thanks.